Ah, yes. It's Atheist Day in Austin, Texas, and I am celebrating it the traditional way one celebrates Atheist Day in Austin, Texas, by being in quarantine in Denver, Colorado. Yes, that is the tradition. If you aren't already aware, book your flights now. I'm sure you will have no problem getting a good flight to Denver, Colorado right now. I mean, if you do, it'll probably be on the cheap. No, it is true though. I am here in quarantine in Denver, Colorado, in my house. This is my little home set and studio, but still excited to celebrate Atheist Day with the Atheist Community of Austin, they are. Wow, this is so far just like a really great, just like a top-notch advocacy video. The Atheist Community of Austin is a fantastic organization that is so important to me because I am so much interested in seeing a world where atheism is talked about in a very positive light. And I think that they are pushing that idea of positive atheism and secular humanism and just making us look a lot better than we really are. No, I'm kidding. But they sure do make us look good. Because that activism is really important, especially in times like these. Right now, we are fighting a pandemic in our country. And they're at the head of, and listen, I don't want to get too political here, but if you've ever seen my show, you should have expected it. At the head of the response team of the people we should be putting our trust in to make these decisions is a person who doesn't believe in evolution. A fact. Evolution is a fact. Is a person who is trying to pray the COVID away. This is the world we currently live in, where it is facts against fiction. It is science against not science. I mean, is there anything more not science than what said individual believes in? We need to be sticking up for truth, secularism, humanism, but also science. And I think it is more important than ever. This pandemic, I give up. No, this pandemic, it will pass. We will get through it. On the other side of it, most people, it looks like, will be alive. It's going to be hard because there is going to be loss, and we may all know somebody who either didn't make it or who is somebody close to someone who didn't make it. In fact, I'd say it's likely we will at least know somebody who was close to somebody who didn't make it. And after this is all said and done, the world will probably just go back to normal. And I think that's something we can't stand for. I think that we have to advocate for change, for a difference, to make things better. Because I dare say there are going to be people on the other side of this who receive their medications, who get to use these respirators that are in short supply. There are going to be people who quarantined. There are going to be people who isolated, who followed all of the medical guidelines. Medical science will hopefully catch up, probably not for a while, but with a vaccine, and all of those things will happen. And then there will be a huge group of people who just ignore that and thank God for delivery from this pandemic, something that it would have been a far greater blessing for him to never have let begun, but we'll thank him, in the aftermath. That's not something that we can then allow our country or the countries around the world to settle in on. We can't allow it to be that, oh, we did it. Thank God. Now let's go back to the status quo and not be prepared for the next one. Because we got kind of lucky that this pandemic doesn't have a much higher mortality rate. And truly, it is luck. The next one could be much, much worse. We could be talking about double-digit mortality rates, something that kills as bad as Ebola does, but it spreads as easily as this does. And we have to be prepared, and the way to be prepared is to advocate for those things that come from our secular values. Good, well-researched medical science. Right now, we're not just talking about advocacy of like, it would be so nice if there would be world peace, which obviously there would be. Don't take that as, I'm not trying to downplay how great world peace would be. It'd be great if there was unity. It'd be great if we could agree on more. It'd be great if we could all have the same standards of facts. But it'd also be great if we were prepared to survive. It'd also be great if everyone was as motivated to see the thriving of life on Earth, including human life. Instead, we are faced with a number of people who seem to be excited for the end of the world. That's what advocacy, when it comes to atheism, is about. That's the type of atheist advocacy I like to see. That which leads to the betterment of humans. That which makes us better. That which makes us healthier. That which makes us live longer. That which makes us love better. That's what I'm hoping for. And so that's a very, obviously, specific to the time. Obviously, also, I want to see another thing. If you've seen my channel, I'm a very big queer rights advocate, activist, and member of the queer community. Excuse me, I've just had a strawberry milkshake, and it makes me a little burpy. I could edit all of this stuff out, but wouldn't it be more fun if I didn't? I definitely want to see the world moving in a direction of empathy for everybody, with people who aren't so eager to get in the way of another person's rights on the basis of a belief that they cannot prove to be true. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there has to be limitations to what we allow people to do to each other. And it's a good thing that we can recognize that those limitations must exist. But upon what basis we determine those limitations has to be something we can all agree on. Because there seems to be these very basic things we can all figure out. We don't argue about whether or not ovens are hot. We have ways to prove it, and we all seem to accept it no matter what our history and our background is. Except for Milton. He's going to argue with everyone about everything. So forget Milton. I'm just kidding. If you're watching and your name's Milton, you're great. But if you're that Milton, screw you. We know that there are ways we can all come together and agree on certain things. We need to figure out what that standard is for these greater ideas, for these greater situations, for how we should treat each other and what the limitations on what humans can be allowed to do to each other are. It can't be upon these arbitrary grounds, these holy books, these beliefs that I just feel so deep in my heart are true, because at the end of the day, so many people believe things on that basis and they're contrary to each other. So how do we figure out what we all do, how we all treat each other? And so that's to me why being an activist in the atheist movement for good, positive things is so important. Because in a world where people have differing opinions based upon the religion that they belong to, we can say, hey, how about this message that needs no religion but can unify us all? That's what atheist activism means to me. This video was a bit rambly. I acknowledge that. But I didn't script anything. I took my cues from Mark. He said, give me 10 minutes on what atheist activism and advocation, and I don't even remember which word he actually used was. And now I'm 20 seconds away from achieving that goal. So the following are fruits I very much enjoy in order of how much I enjoy them. First, I gotta go with mangoes. Fantastic. Second, raspberries. Though growing up in a home with a British mother, they are certainly, it's raspberries, but whatever. Either way, they're delicious. I also enjoy grapes, but I go through phases where I don't know which kind of grape I like the most. I think right now, if I was going for a grape, I'd probably go for a big, juicy black grape. But green grapes, that little tang, that little sour, not really tang, but that little sour bite, pretty good too. I also like strawberries, apples. We'll just do top 5. There you go. That's and what's funny is I more like using strawberries in things than eating a whole strawberry. But I think we've reached the 10 minutes. Thank you, everybody. Happy Atheist Day. Thank you to the Atheist Community of Austin for everything you do. You're absolutely fantastic. And I'm happy that more and more people are associating atheism and what we do and what we are out trying to accomplish with the kind of message that the Atheist Community of Austin is trying to spread. I'm glad that not everybody feels that way yet, but it is spreading, and it is spreading more rapidly because of the work the ACA does. So thank you very much to the ACA. Bye, everyone. Love you all. And look at that. I've gone well over the 10 minutes. We're at like 11 something.